Hey, everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of Secrets to Real Estate Investing. Today, we have with us a dynamic couple that has made so much progress and success since I met them like a year and a half ago. And I'm super excited to have them on today to talk about their journey and how they got to where they are. So, with that, welcome to the show, Jonathan Johnson and Savannah McBride.
Hey, how's it going, Ollie? So good to see you.
I'm so glad you guys could take some time to be on the show today. Thank you so much. I love for our listeners to hear about people that are doing deals now in the trenches. You guys have definitely hit a lot of obstacles and challenges, I know, and you have adjusted your course, including moving halfway across the country to find success. And I'm really excited for you guys to share that. So why don't you give our listeners some insight and give them your story right from the beginning.
Okay, you want to give me your background?
Sure, yeah. So thank you again for having us. Really appreciate it. And it's so great seeing you again.
Yeah.
So we started out, we were in LA. That's where we met Holly initially. I had been working full-time at a gymnastics gym for 9 years. Meanwhile, he is self-employed. I see him going on hikes at noon on a Tuesday, and I'm like so jealous. Like, I want that life. And so we really started getting into investing. We went to a tax lien auction in Arkansas, and had some money and thought, oh, we're gonna get like 4 homes. Didn't turn out to be the case. We can visit that later. But so I wasn't happy at my job. We had started Wholesaling Inc., Tom Kroll's program, and that's how we actually met Holly, because she was on one of his podcasts. And basically I said, once we start making money, I'm going to quit my job. And, I would go to work. I had like chest pains. I was really anxious. And he said, you should just quit. And I was like, that's really scary. It was too much to think about. And I said, well, the next day, the owner, my boss, is in. I said, I'm going to put in my notice. Happened to be that next day. She hadn't been there in 2 weeks, and she was there. And I said, well, I guess I'm quitting today. So that's kind of how it went. I feel like our story is really long, and I don't want to. Maybe I'll let him take over a little bit.
I don't know if Holly wants to interject in between.
Yeah, Jonathan, tell them what you did and still sometimes do for a job, because it's kind of unusual too for someone in this industry.
Yes. So I was currently still am in the entertainment industry. That's what I was doing out in LA. They're doing pretty well at it, actually. Doing it full time for quite some time, and just hit a point where actually, I guess I could tell the story. So I burnt myself pretty bad. I burnt my hand cooking bacon, actually. And it was actually a really interesting experience to seeing how I had all these jobs lined up and I was on hold for, and then instantly I was unemployed or not employable until I was able to heal. And it was kind of like a reality check that my income is based off of just this. And
well, and for people that can't see you, he's motioning to his amazingly hot body and good looks, right? I'm married. I'm not picking up on him. You know that. Amanda's with him, but you're a beautiful man, and people pay you for your beautiful looks.
I appreciate that. Yes, I worked in the fitness industry, so I was a fitness model, and I still do that occasionally. Since we've been out here in Austin, Texas. I've flown back to San Diego, to LA multiple times for work, usually for fitness shoots. And even out here in Austin, there's still commercials. I actually shot, ironically, a Dunkin' Donuts commercial. Being a fitness model, you can see how that can go hand in hand.
Of course.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's actually nice to still be able to dip into a more, I guess, creative or more, it's a different field to kind of mix up it, where it's not just solely business, real estate, but as Savannah was saying, the initial, I guess, push was tax liens. We went to Arkansas, thinking that we're going to get multiple different properties. We did a lot of research. We did title searches on all the properties. And we just hit a point where, or during that, it was just like, oh, we're definitely going to get an amazing deal doing this. Nobody has money out in Arkansas. And lo and behold, we're at this auction, and it became like this a bidding war where people were going over the fair market value. And literally, we ran our numbers before we went in there. There's no way they were actually making a profit unless they're doing a buy and hold for that particular situation. So came back, no properties. And that's when we had looked into Tom Crow's program in wholesaling, and trying to wholesale a property in Los Angeles is a lot easier said than done. We actually spoke with Tom's brother, who's based actually in San Diego, and he kind of gave me a little pep talk. He did say that that market could be a beast. I'm sure for someone like him and that skill set and that caliber, he would be able no problem to do that. But for us, being new, just trying to network, not having any net worth, was a lot more difficult doing that. So we were both coming to a point in, I guess, our careers professionally, but also personally, having a better quality of life, that we sought out other states that we can be able to have a nice life, but also be able to make an income. And we actually flew out to Denver, Colorado, checked out Boulder, and we checked out Austin, Texas. And then after seeing Austin, it was like a no-brainer. Like, we already knew, like, this place is it.
And we had never been to, I'd never been to any of them. So it was like one flight, and then a month later we moved to Austin because we saw, hey, you can buy a home for $250,000. That's crazy. Boulder and Denver, you're still looking at $600, $700, $1 million. And we're like, we don't want another market like that, because it's a hard market to start in when you don't have a lot of leverage and income to back you up. So yeah, we've been here in Austin since March of 2017, so a little over a year, and we hit the ground running. I mean, we had nothing to lose, so we used to.
Yeah, we just killed it with mailers. We actually enrolled in a course out here that was an amazing networking course, which allowed us to have instantaneous circle, whether contractors, funders, that enabled us to just fly. We shot out mailers. We got a few sellers that wanted $1 million for their home, which is kind of a similar conversation I've had with multiple sellers in California, where they want the world and the universe for their home, and they think that they can actually get it. So we kind of had to battle that a little bit, but we were able to get deals, or at least leads, that we're trying to convert. And so we kind of realized that there's multiple avenues to get those from. It wasn't just one network or one source. So whether it's, Savannah's done door knocking, we've done actual mailers. We haven't hit cold calling yet. But then because of the network, there's so many other people that are doing other things to generate leads, and then they can fire them over to us. For instance, like the foreclosure property that we have was a lead that a Dallas investor shot over to us. And by the way, I don't know if I can plug programs, but there's a program called the Big Dog program out in Austin. And that's the program that we enrolled in that really helped us kind of get integrated, I guess, within the Austin community. Because it is the most, I would say, up and coming, or at least it's not up and coming. It's been busy. It's been insanely busy for a while, for a few years now. So especially compared to all of the different markets in Texas. But yeah, the Big Dog program helped us kind of get that traction, and then and from there continuously networking out. But yeah, we did get a lead, a foreclosure lead, where so there's other investors were jumping on the same same seller. And the seller was like, well, I'm going to entertain a couple deals, and I'm going to see who can offer me the best price. And I was like, you're closing in 3 days. Your property is going to be sold in 3 days. So whether it's me or anyone else, you need to find something to save you, or else you're going to jack your credit up. You're going to lose your home and not make anything from it. And then we were able to tap into our network and bring professional foreclosure closers with us that we partnered up with, got under contract, started a lease back, and then kind of the rest is history. We got in there, got it out. Savannah and I did the managing of the project, and we got a contract yesterday for full asking price.
Yeah, and we flipped that in 3 weeks. Yeah, and the purchase price I think was $143. We have it listed at $269. So,
oh my gosh,
and our rehab was
amazing.
$30,000. So
And you did the rehab in 3 weeks, or you marketed it for 3 weeks?
No, we rehabbed it for 3 weeks. We got a full price offer in 4 days. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is
Yeah.
amazing, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Our rehab was, $30,000. So we really had to manage it and micromanage it to keep those costs down. I mean, easily could have paid $60,000 for the rehab, but we were the ones going to Home Depot. We were there day in and day out, making sure that property stayed on budget as far as rehab. Because.
So what was your scope on that? Like, did you guys do everything, like kitchen and bathrooms and flooring and paint, or what all did you get done for your $30,000? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so the house was built in 2003, so it was in pretty good shape. I mean, it was a foreclosure. They had neglected it. There was holes in the wall. It was weird flooring. It was like dark laminate to like linoleum to Formica counters. It was a track home that, didn't have much, wow or anything. So, I mean, we did pretty minimal. We did tile throughout the bottom floor. We did carpet it on the upstairs. We did granite, even though honestly in that neighborhood there's no granite. They're all Formica. But we're like, we're not selling a Formica countertop home. So
I'm assuming granite is still pretty cheap. Even I know it's dirt cheap in LA because we're right at the port where they bring it all over from China. But I imagine in a major area like Austin, it's still pretty affordable, right?
It was like $30 a square foot. So I mean, we could have gotten quartz for like $35 a square foot, but the area didn't warrant quartz, so we're like, we're not going to do it.
Smart.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely I see a lot of beginning flippers, myself included, will over improve a house, but that's so smart that you looked at what your competition is and was like, hey, this will be fine. It's still a little bit better than the other ones, but we don't have to take it over the top and lose the money, right?
Yeah. And we kept all the cabinets. The cabinets were like bad spray on tan orange. And we all of the comps had that color. No one painted theirs. I mean, it wasn't in the budget to change them. So actually, Jonathan and our partner Chris, they ended up staining the whole cabinets. And I was like, no, that's too much work. We don't need to do it. And it looks really amazing. So
wow.
we kept the vanities in every area except the master because it was a weird one. We had to actually replace that. But other than that, I mean, it was fixtures, it was paint. It was pretty minimal. We did some paint on the exterior, but not the whole thing because it was 1,800 square feet. And it really wasn't in the budget to paint the whole. It was stucco. Every house in the neighborhood is cookie cutters. So we did some pop of color on the door, on the shutters. But other than that, we kept it pretty simple.
Cool. Well, and I have to say, I think it's really smart of you for going something that's on the newer end. And now in California, very rarely. So if you're listening and you're in California, usually if you're looking at a 2003 house in Southern California to flip, it doesn't make sense. They're too good and they're too nice. There's not enough spread. But in Savannah and Jonathan's area, it worked great, worked awesome. It's people I know that do mailers and even the homes I buy. I mean, all 3 homes I'm thinking of right now that I bought in Orange County last few months, all built in like the 70s. So that's how old they have to be before we can add enough value to make it work as a flip. But obviously in your area, well, I'm going to add one more thing. I do have a flip that was built in 2006 in Desert Hot Springs. So it's like the north area of Palm Springs. and once again, not well taken care of. And we did have to replace all the cabinets because they were rotted out in the bottom from water damage.
Yeah.
But, you know, just generally speaking, you have to really know your market and don't expect in California, Southern California, right, that you can shop in the 2,000 plus market to find a flip. But that's awesome to do that in Austin, because then it keeps your rehab costs down. It's not as an extensive and a heavy deal as it is from a 1970 house. So cool.
Yeah. And we get a lot of, like, I'm a price hunter, so I get like our tile was, they're 12 by 24s, and it was under $1 a square foot.
Wow.
And we got them at Habitat for Humanity. And so we went there, and it was like all the tile, which I think was like 1,000 square feet of tile, was like $700.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then we also did another hack on the carpet. So we don't love carpet, but everywhere there had carpet. And to try to do the stairs with either, you know, laminate or something else is very expensive.
Yes, it is.
So we went to Home Depot, and they told us there that, hey, if you get, you know, carpet that's over $1 a square foot, we do free installation. If you buy more than 600 square feet, we're like, done deal. So we got, you know, the best carpet for the cheapest price. And so we're all about the price hacks and hunting. And we actually personally power washed the whole fence, the whole front driveway to save on costs, because it was like, we're not going to spend $300 for you to power wash. We'll power wash.
Right. And at your point in your time, like, that's a good use of your time. That's great. Now, if you were flipping 20 houses right now, you wouldn't be doing that. But I think it's great that you did that. And I'm like totally laughing that you're talking about this, because my husband bought a power washer at a garage sale in my neighborhood last week. I'm like, don't buy that. We don't need another thing in the garage. But he's so excited to have this big manly power washer. I'm like,
they're the
gosh.
best. I'm telling you, they're so great. I'm like, can I do it now? Can I do it now? It's the only ones.
When I asked my husband, like, why are you buying this? Our main contractor power washes all the time. He doesn't need one. He has one. He's like, well, we can do it in the backyard. I'm like, oh my gosh. He must have done it too. He must think it's fun.
It is. Yeah.
It's really satisfying. I'm telling you.
That's funny.
Pretty therapeutic. Like I kind of like just lose myself while doing it, because you're seeing instant results, you know, like just doing the backyard for this foreclosure we're talking about. It was just, we were contemplating, like, do we need a new fence? And they're like, no, maybe we can repaint it. And then just pressure washing it, just getting it off, it looks like a new fence.
Yeah.
And that saved so much. Yeah, we got it at Costco for like $300, like brand new. And our contractor was going to charge us $300 pressure wash. And now we have it.
Now you can power wash whenever you want. Like, I need to feel some power washing therapy. Yeah.
I told him, I'm like, we should be renting this baby out for like $100 a day for other investors who want to power wash.
Yeah.
Money.
Well, that's a nice little thing you can kind of offer, you know, because you guys know how the networking game works. You play it well. You know, like when you're meeting someone, like, oh, if you ever need a power washer, you can borrow ours. And like, oh, that's great. So just a nice little give you have hanging out there. And
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I am so excited for you guys on that deal. That's amazing. I would love for Savannah to share about her journey on deciding to become an agent, and like what led you to that, and how hard was it, and all of that.
Yeah. So initially I was like, no way, not doing that, not interested. I really thought it would prevent us from doing deals because I was an agent. And I didn't want to pay the dues. I didn't want to go to school. But after, I would say, about 8 months of sending mailers and, you know, our first, I would say 7 months, we spent over 10 grand in mailers and got one deal from a mailer.
At that time.
We've gotten more since because people hold on to them.
Yes, they do.
But I realized how much we got a lot of leads. I mean, we had like, I think 60 people on our list of, they wanted to sell their house, but they didn't want to sell it at the price we wanted it at. So I was like, we're leaving money on the table. If it doesn't make sense to buy it as an investor, maybe it makes sense to at least we can list it and, you know, turn that lead into money, you know, because a lot of times it was a wasted lead. So, so yeah, I met a brokerage that was at an investment meeting. I'd seen them multiple times, and they're called, can I say the name of the brokerage?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. It's called Stepstone, and basically it is a brokerage for investors. So everyone that's on the brokerage is an investor. They either flip houses, they wholesale houses, they have private money to lend. It's a great network, and the brokerage caters to you selling your own properties. So you get, you know, your brokerage fee is discounted when you sell your property. And it makes the most sense. So I went to school. I started online. That did not work for me. I am not someone who can sit there and read for hours and hours and hours. So I ended up going to in-person class at Champion School, which I think is amazing. It is, I think, one of the best. I don't know if it's based here in Texas. I think it may be. And I just got it done in like 3 weeks. It was basically like 8-hour days.
Wow.
Crash course. And here in Texas, the pass rate is about 40% first time. So not super strong. But I was able to get my license, first time pass. So I was super excited. And then, so I signed on with my brokerage, and it's been great. I've utilized it in the way that, we haven't sold our own properties yet, because we have an amazing source here in Texas, and it's called Listing Spark, where they will list your property for $7 a day. It is a discount brokerage, and sometimes it may be cheaper than the rate I would be paying my brokerage. So we've been selling our properties that way thus far, but our next few properties are going to be higher value. So you really want someone marketing your property. So the brokerage is amazing, and has been the perfect fit for what we needed.
That's really cool. So I would love to address something you said, that this is really important in case people are considering getting a license, which I think is great. I was really glad I got mine. Let's see, I've had it 3 years and been doing the game 10 years. So the first 7 years, I didn't have a license, and we were, quote, giving that commission away. But as I was deciding which brokerage they call it, hang my license with, a lot of them would not allow me to sell my own properties here in Southern California. They're like, well, you would have to hire another agent in the brokerage. And when I said, okay, so how much would that other agent charge me? And I met him, he's like, oh, well, 2.5%. I'm like, that's what I would just pay to a stranger on the street. Like, why would I even be doing this? So definitely, if you're going to go on that route, you've got to pay attention and make sure that you can list your own properties if that's your objective. And then another benefit that I found from getting my license, I mean, it's only happened once. I've gotten one deal from another agent in my office, but it was a great deal. So he called me and said, Holly, it's a hoarder house. They tried to fix it themselves. They tried to do it yourself. It's missing flooring. Be careful where you step, because on the second floor, it's missing big chunks of flooring. Like, it was a disaster, but he knew he could trust me. And I came in and he got the buy commission, and it all worked out great. And I wouldn't have possibly had that connection if I hadn't been connected to him through my brokerage. So it opens more doors when you are an agent. And just when I go to my broker preview meetings and realtor events, it's more opportunities for me to get FaceTime with other realtors. And I always make sure they know. And you would represent me as the buyer. So if you can find me a deal. And in fact, one that I am in escrow to buy now. It's another realtor that brought it to me. She gets the buy commission. She's thrilled. I'm like, okay, bring me more. So, it just works out really great, potentially, So about how much did it cost you there in Texas to get, to go to school and pay for the test and get your license and all that stuff? Just so people know.
My schooling was $1,000. And that was in class. And then that they also give you test prep courses, and you can do, and with that money I paid, you can do as many as you want. So I took 2 testing prep because they recommended, like, you really need to know this terminology. And then as far as my dues was about $1,600, and that was for half the year. So about, you know, $2,500 so far. But yeah, definitely worth it. And another aspect is, like, because here there's deals on the MLS, you can find them. And if you're representing yourself, that commission can go back into your rehab costs there. And so you may be able to pay a little bit more than someone else who doesn't have that advantage. So
definitely. And you have MLS access. I mean, right there, you have your own MLS account. So yeah, that's super cool. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people ask me, should I get a license? Is it worth it? I resisted for years. You resisted for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So, but now that we've made it through to the other side, we're like, yes, it's worth it, right?
Yes, definitely worth it.
The benefits definitely exceed the cost. Well, I'd love for you guys to tell me about some more of your deals too. What's another one that you'd like to share?
Yeah, there was actually one, was before Savannah had her license. We found one off the MLS that was a duplex, and we put an offer in. So there was 2 tenants in there. One was month to month that had been living there for 30 plus years, I think 32, 33 years. Yeah, and she did not want to move. She straight up said, I am going to die here. And so, that was a process. The other tenants were the other tenants had a lease, but they were like a younger couple, and they were kind of more flexible as far as we gave them incentive to move out, to break their contract, to move out earlier. But yeah, we put an offer in, which was interesting because we came in as investors, but they just, the seller brought in his own buying agent to represent the buying side, which, we could have just
at his brokerage, basically.
Yeah.
But it worked in our favor in the long run. So go ahead.
Well, essentially worked in our favor in the long run, where they were able to negotiate their own commissions in order to make our offer go through. All of a sudden, there was a bidding war on this, and that's kind of like the catch-22 with being in the hot market and on the MLS. So many eyes are on it.
Yes.
So thankfully, our deal went through. Our funding went through, which that was a whole process as well, just getting a proof of funds. But then everything went through on that one. I can kind of do a summary because, it could be a long story. But essentially, we bought the duplex, sold them separately as condos. We did a condo regime. We bought it at $262. And we did $70K in rehab and made $136 in profit.
Sweet. That is a fat deal. Wow.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Basically, we sold each unit at $232, $235.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
$262, and basically because of our network, we had a friend who had done the same thing. He bought a duplex. He condo regimed, which does cost about $4,500, but basically, instead of just owning the inside of the property like a condo, you own the land. So they basically own half of the land. So they subdivide the lot and split it down the middle. It was about $4,500 to do that, but it makes the property more valuable than, say, if you're just buying a normal condo. But yeah, we had a friend who had done it, and we call it the Eddie effect. Our friend Eddie. And so we were looking for something like that, and it happened to be in the right area where single-family homes are going for $300,000 to $450,000. So for anyone to get in that neighborhood, they were dying to have these properties. I mean, the A unit was pending in 4 days. The B unit was pending in 24 hours. So
oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, and it was people that wanted to be in this neighborhood but couldn't really afford it, but they still got a house. I mean, it looked like a house. They had a garage. They had, washer dryer. They have a nice yard. I mean, it was a sweet deal. It was our baby, but we were ready to get rid of it once.
That's awesome.
We're like,
the closing process is a process. Is having like an agent, which I feel like I have like a love and hate relationship with agents, because they go. We had an agent go in, have it inspected, and literally highlight everything that needs to be done on the inspection sheet and be like, this is what needs to be done. They shouldn't even list it. Just like, see addendum this, and then have it just listed. And I was like, these are all like small, like little nitpicky things. And like, we just countered back by saying, come up with a real list and we'll give you we'll counter. But like this, we're not even going to consider this. And just by doing that, allowed her to negotiate with herself and with her client. That way when because like they know that the house is going to sell, and they know that we don't have to be going into this like back and forth battle because we're desperate sellers. So by doing that, they came up with a more realistic list, but just that process was interesting because we were at one of the units and we were like talking to an agent, and she just seemed like really sweet, and I remember disclosing something, and because we disclosed it, she told our I guess negotiator through Listing Spark that because they disclosed this, you now need to supply
their inspection, because we got an inspection when we purchased
initially,
it. And so she goes, oh yeah, there's a lot of electrical issues here. It's the highest I've ever seen. And I'm like, and I said, well, that's interesting because it didn't show in our inspection when we purchased it. And then she was like, oh, interesting. And then she was like, straight at it, like, we want that inspection. It was like we were trying to hide something, because our inspection didn't have, I mean, we did all the repairs that our inspection showed. So it was interesting.
Yes, there's all kinds of realtors. I can say that because I am one, and I love it when they reduce their clients' expectations to reality. Like, and I have seen where buyers of my flips think, okay, I'm buying a new house. I want everything to be new and perfect. Yeah. It's not a new house. It's a renovated house. And I'm not saying it's perfect, but like people expect perfection because it does look really pretty overall when everything's new, and then it's staged. It feels a lot like a model home. But when the inspection comes out, they're like, oh, what about this? What about that? Yeah. But did you guys actually do repairs, or did you give a dollar allowance and say, take this and go away? What did you do?
We did both. Because they were sold separately, we literally were doing two transactions simultaneously. We did some repairs. Some of them were, actually was our contractor's responsibility. So then he went in and did a lot of stuff that was under, I guess, his scope of work that he had given us. But there were, I think there was like, so our custom screen windows, we ordered custom screen windows because I think they threw out the original windows. And I measured it, she measured it, and then they came up wrong. Like, it just didn't fit the window. So we gave concessions during closing for the screens.
Right.
I don't think what other stuff. I remember they said that if it doesn't appraise, our client's not going to, can't bring anything more to the table. And I was just like, why are you telling us at days before like the appraisal to go through, you know? Like, you could have, like, if you said that in the very beginning, because we were firm on like, this is what we're asking for. We're not going to budge on this number. The first unit appraised at 232. We're listing at 235. So we met in the middle on that one. Because that one was like a ringer of going back and forth and jumping through hurdles, and like even their client was like, they're getting to a point where they were just getting irritated with back and forth. But I think it was just the communication between everyone. Yeah. But then our second unit appraised at 235, and so the one that said she couldn't bring any more, it just appraised, and we were able to get the full asking price for that.
Yeah, and some. Oh, go ahead, Savannah. Savannah, sorry.
That's okay. I think the biggest thing is if you've never done a flip or you've never sold a property, is just because you have an offer, you have a contract, it's a whole nother set of obstacles to go through to actually close and then get your, your money that you've earned. So that's just, for us, it was the biggest thing was like, oh, you're so excited, you got an offer and it's pending. That's awesome. But then there's all these other obstacles to make sure that goes to closing and you end up making
Definitely.
So just a big reminder for us, like, oh, let's just be ready for that.
Well, and I'll even tell my regular, as I call them, retail real estate clients, hey, there's round one of negotiations, which is the price. And then after you're in contract, there is the repairs. It's another round of negotiations of what's going to come up in the inspection. And I don't know if you guys can do this in Texas, but when I have a hot property with multiple offers, I'll tell people, especially if I'm doing a multiple counteroffer, you need to waive the appraisal contingency, meaning like they've got to have enough cash to come in and pay the difference. I don't know if that's legal or common practice in Texas, but you guys should definitely ask around about that, because I love to just say, hey, we're in the strong position here. We got lots of people that want this. If you want to be in the game and you want this house, you have to waive appraisal contingency, meaning you've got to come in with the cash if it doesn't appraise at what you offered. So that's another strategy too.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have become experts yourself. Look at all this. I'm so impressed. Everything you've learned and done. Wow.
I did have a question for you.
Yes.
So with being an agent for a few years now, is that we've noticed out here that agents will overpromise their clients to get them and then essentially bring them back to reality. And as investors will overpromise as well. So I feel like on both ends, there's overpromising and under-delivering. And I know even recently we had a lead off of a bandit sign that we went in, and I was like, we're going to be transparent with you. The offer that we give you, we're going to stick with it as much as possible. And I'm telling you that I could tell you we can offer you more, just get you under contract, then negotiate you down, because now that I got you locked in and I know that you need to move soon. But I'm like, is this not, I don't feel ethically right doing that, but I see it all the time out here. Also, I mean, a little bit in LA as well, where they will tell their client, like, you can get this X amount for your property. And they're like, well, an agent told me I can get this. And then as an investor, I'm like, well, you cannot, because your home does not look like what's going for that price.
Yeah.
Just kind of curious on your approach on both sides.
I agree with you 100%. And realtors will tell sellers or listers that just to get the contract. They get just like an investor does, and they get it and like, well, the market, has changed, or the market's not what it was. So let's do a price drop of 50 grand or 100 grand.
Right.
And they're disappointed. And then sometimes they get really mad and might cancel a listing. And then they just list with another agent and they're still listing it. They've got to drop the price because the market has spoken. The people have spoken. And the same thing with investors. I mean, I think it's unethical, but a lot of people operate that way.
Yeah.
So
it's difficult having to keep that advantage or keep that competitive edge when other people are doing that. Like, do we need to do that in order to have some type of competitive edge to maintain? I
mean, I don't. Everybody's got to decide for themselves, but I've heard of plenty of investors that just tie it up and then they come back, oh, well, we didn't know how extensive the repairs were going to be. My offer has to come down to this. And then the seller's somewhat committed to them. And they're like, well, I don't want to start over with a new one. They're just going to negotiate me down too. But then the other guys that would have offered a lower price don't even get a chance to play because the first guy kind of roped him in. So I don't have an easy answer. I wish I did, but I, like you, will not overpromise on price. I don't do that.
Yeah. In this particular deal that he was talking about, we got the call on the bandit sign. We have a new build on the same street. So we have a bandit sign in the front yard. Have got like a few calls, but she's on the same street, wants to sell. We go meet with her. We're in negotiations as far as price. And we said we didn't want to pay over $270.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't want to pay over $270. She calls him. She goes, someone's offering me $280. Can you match it, or can you? And he calls back, and we weren't going to go up, but basically they got it under contract. And I said, I think we need to keep following up with her. I feel like that's a wholesaler. It's going to fall through. Turns out he wholesaled it to our builder that's on the project with us. So now we have the property, and he had to go negotiate it down to $250.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, which I'm like, it's so funny. And literally this wholesaler's pitching this to our builder who had already been to the property. We're in negotiations. And so it's just funny how that works out, where we wanted to pay $250, but she would not, she said, no, that is way too low. I don't want to even consider it.
Well, in the beginning, they don't know. No one knows. And then, okay, well.
Yeah.
And I constantly have to remind myself, and I'm glad you guys have gone under contract on some of your deals really quickly. Usually your first offer is the best offer. Usually, not always, but there's been times when I have rejected initial offers on a flip or something, and then they only get worse after that. I'm like, dang it, I have to remind myself the first offer is the best offer.
Yeah,
that's tough. So what other questions might you have for me?
I would say I have questions mainly around lending. Because like we found that there's so many deals that we will love to jump on, like deals on the MLS. There's wholesaler companies that will pitch that or have like decent profit margins, but we are over leveraged out because we have so many projects going on. Is like how to ideally. I talked to one lender where she said there's some investors that have hit a point where they have almost like a fund that they just roll money in and out of without saying this property, these are the terms, these are the rates you're going to get. So I would love to get to a point where whether it's just get consistent rates, because we had a great rate. We have $500,000 at 10%, 1 point origination.
And that's private money. So
yeah.
That's awesome.
They don't have enough money to keep rolling it into more deals, So like right now that's tied up. So I would say, how do you, are you limited by not having access to that when you have multiple deals and you have agents that are calling you with deals, or do you have to like turn them down?
Great questions. And you got to go with your comfort level, because there's definitely been times when we had so many projects, and all leveraged, and I'm like, I would stress out a bit or lose sleep here and there, like, oh my gosh, this is like too much, because it can be stressful. I mean, there's been times like right when we were starting early on and buying houses at auction, I think the most houses we ever had at one time on the books was like 50. It was insane. Whoa. We were so stressed out. Probably 20 of them were rentals and 30 were flips, and they would just sit and wait to be touched because we didn't have enough manpower or crews. Way too stressful. Never want to do that again. That was many years ago when we were back at the beginning. But we're like, we better keep buying. We're supposed to just buy. We can buy, so we will, and we should. No. But now I've moved up to higher price points, lower quantity, where I can manage the individual projects better. And like, so the last 3 homes I bought are all around 900,000. So that's way up in price point compared to where we used to do, I'm sure, compared to what you're doing. And I have found my recent hard money lender. I think I misquoted you too. I thought I was at 8% and 0.8 points, but I'm at 8.75%. That's based on, I think they offer that to people in California if you've done 10 or more flips in the last 2 years. So they want to make sure you're active. But that is 90% LTV and 100%. So I should say loan to purchase cost. So you always got to ask the lender, what is the limitations? And then they give me 100% of the rehab as well for that cost. Definitely, I've seen the cost of money come down over the last 5 years, because it used to be kind of standard 12% with 3.5 points, and that would be at 70% loan to cost or something like that. And now they're as good as, what I just told you. Probably the same company I use would be charging a little bit more for someone with less experience. And they'd also charge more in another state. California, they're like, I get calls every week of people like trying to lend me money. There's more money than there are places to put it.
Yeah.
So it's just got to be your comfort level, and then you can supplement. But this is tricky too, I've learned. So on one of my hard money loans, I got my first at 90%. And like one of them, I guess I paid 1.1 million for a house. So I thought, oh, I'd like that 10% to be a private money lender in there. So like I could put someone in for 100 or 150 grand and record a second on the property. And there's still plenty of room and value and equity. But the hard money lender disallowed any other recording of any other deeds on the property. So I think with one of them, like, okay, I'll put you on that, and it's, you know, in our heads there, but you can't record the deed. So it's obviously an investor that trusts me and knows me and knows that I'm not over leveraging. I'm not putting other people mentally on that or anything. But there's got to be a big level of trust. So some lenders will not require you to put that second trust deed. And I don't know what they call them, if they call them trust deeds or mortgages in Texas. But you guys are like the symphony conductor, where you see the deals and you put the money with the deals, and then you've got all your contacts and your connections and your network, and you just have to orchestrate it the best way that you can. Also not over leveraging your time. Like if you don't have enough time to do them all, like we got in too deep with our 50 houses, it's just your comfort level and what you can figure out with the money. But there are lots of money options, and networking for the private money is a great thing to do too, which you can find at real estate clubs, because plenty of times there's guys there, usually guys, sometimes women, but mostly guys that are sitting there and they're like, they're interested in real estate investing. They're comfortable with it as an investment, as an asset class, but they don't want to be the flipper. They want to be, you know, lending their money to someone like you guys. It's like young and hungry and energetic, and you want to get out there and do it. And then they can make that 10% and be happy. Yeah. So that's a great source that you guys could look to for first positions, or even for second positions if they come in behind a hard money lender. So I don't know if that helped you, but it's it's not like an easy, quick answer. It's got to be what you're comfortable with and what your books look like and all that. It's like, I tell people this game is like Monopoly, and there's been times when I'm like, okay, I'm moving this mortgage to this property and this investor to that one, and now that one's selling, so where am I going to put that one? You know, once you get a lot going, you'll see.
Yeah. Because like for us, because we do this full time, we don't have W-2s. So conventional loans kind of out the door. So it's like hard money or private money. So that's kind of where we stand with that.
There actually are. I've been getting emails and hit up lately for stated income loans. They are back. So maybe a stated income mortgage. Now, it might only be for a home that you're going to live in. That might not work for an investment property. But maybe talk to some lenders, conventional lenders, and just say, hey, what do you know about investment loans? Because a stated income loan, I've heard, right now, I think 30-year conventional mortgage is like at 4.75% here in Southern California on a home you're going to live in. And maybe stated income loans might be as high as 6%. But I'll tell you, 6% is a lot cheaper than 10%. So it might be a nice alternative for you guys. And maybe you do want to move into a home, fix it, and then resell it. Maybe, people do that too. So just something to think about, see what's out there.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Any other questions I can help you guys with today?
I guess I have all the questions. On the same topic we were talking about before is living in them, because I know out here there's investors that every 2 years they homestead, move out, and get the tax exemption. Is that something that you would be inclined to do, or is there something that prevents you from doing that as well?
That's a great question. If I were in your guys' shoes, because you have no kids, right? If I had no kids, I would probably do it. And we were even talking about that recently, because the home that I live in now, we bought to flip, and like, I think we'll move into that ourselves. It's near the beach and it's nice. So we did. And we've been talking about that because that the way it worked out, I mean, I don't know if we really had, well, maybe we did have that much, but you get $500,000 tax-free, and we're like getting to that point where there's that much appreciation equity in the last 4 years since we lived here, and then, you know, the value we added. But I have a high schooler, and he's like, Mom, I don't want to leave. I'm like, what if we just went to San Clemente? It's the next town over, and it has an ocean view. And he's like, I don't want to leave. I'm like, okay, maybe we'll stay. So if we didn't have the kids, we might do it. And maybe since the last one's leaving in 2 years, we will. Because that's the thing. That's the only thing that would tie me down. I don't get emotionally attached to homes. To me, they're product because it's my business. Where lots of people, especially women, will be like, oh, that's where I had my family and raised my babies. I'm like a man, like, whatever, it's just a box, I can move on. No judgment of the women that have connections to houses, because I have lots of friends that feel that way, and that's fine for them. Where I'm like, I can go wherever. If there's something bigger and better, I'm out.
Sure, yeah.
So I would definitely try and take advantage of that if I were you. If you found a good deal and you want to move into it, go take advantage of that. I mean, up to $500,000 tax-free. Not that you'd necessarily get that in Texas, but take advantage of for what you can.
Yeah, and that's for us, is like we want to find that property that we can maximize that homestead. If we're going to homestead it, we want to be getting the full, you know, exemption there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely looking, but we can't get a conventional loan. So as of now, it's kind of on the back burner. But
well, you've got some good income to show, you know, so, you know, from your deal. So you might be able to, or you do the stated income thing. Even if you are paying 6% or whatever, that could be really good. Say you only make $100,000 on it or 50 grand on it. If it's tax free, that's huge. You know, I would totally go for that.
Yeah.
Last night we were talking about, so we have a add-on and then new build in the back where it's like flag lot. And we're going to pitch it as kind of like an Airbnb. It's going to be a 2-2 in the back, but new build. And it would be ideal to just sell it as like an Airbnb. And I'm like, we could do that. Like we can homestead it and Airbnb it in the back.
Yeah.
So that's how you maximize kind of like that tax exemption, where you're not only making an income through sharing your property, but then also by just living there.
Yeah.
So that would be like an ideal situation.
Good creative thinking. Very good. Yeah.
Here in Austin, actually, that's a big thing, because Austin is big and spread out, but basically you can build 2 homes on a lot and you sell them separately. So what we were going to do was we'd sell the front house for like $430, and then the back one was going to be like $375. And basically it's subdivided. They have separate meters, everything's separate. And that's what a lot of people are doing here in Austin. If you have a lot that's over 5,800 square feet, you can build an ADU, basically, additional dwelling unit. And that unit can't be above 1,100 square feet, but it's creating more affordability because, I mean, the prices are going up majorly here. So
yeah,
these California investors, so they love us.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. But I did have a question for you, because I'm always looking for, like, you know, budget hacks. Do you have any for, like, when doing rehabs, any, like, you know, things that you really like to use to save money, or just any ideas to really save money on the rehabs?
Not really. I used to try and be a hoarder of supplies when we'd like, oh, they're having a big clearance sale at Home Depot, and we would buy, you know, hundreds of dollars of different tiles. And if we didn't use them fast enough, I still remember we had these fancy travertine pencil liners for showers. Like, oh, this is awesome. And we bought, you know, hundreds and hundreds of them. Well, guess what? Travertine is not the hot style anymore. Like it wasn't even for like maybe 2 years before we even burned through it. So we went from trying to buy stuff at discounts and storing all this stuff in our garage. We looked like a Home Depot ourselves to like, okay, we thought we were saving money doing that. I don't think we did. We probably maybe broke even or lost money by overbuying stuff. And so then we just said, okay, contractor, you buy what you need when you need it at Home Depot. Because like when you get bigger and you're doing more and you don't have the time, you just have to like turn that off. But now when you have more time, I mean, I do once in a while on our higher end stuff, look at websites like build.com and Wayfair. And with both of those, you can get what's called like a professional discount. You just tell them, I'm a real estate investor, I'm a house flipper. Then they give you a discount off of that. So like when I'm buying $1,000 fancy bathtub or, $2,000 whatever vanity, then that's helpful. But that's about the only thing that I do. I don't have any like great solutions other than that. But my advice is don't turn your home into a Home Depot, your garage. I regretted that big time.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of started a little bit, but we made that mistake, and someone was like, oh, Floor and Decor, they have this great marble looking tile, it's great price. We went, we bought it, we thought, oh, we're going to put it in this property, and I was like, I don't like that brown. We ended up selling it. So, I mean, we made our money back, so it was fine, but
yeah,
we probably shouldn't do that again.
And I love Floor and Decor. We have them out here. So they have a big giant store in Santa Ana, and that's where we go still sometimes if we're picking. So
yeah.
They have great
honestly,
stuff.
Our go-to is Amazon for fans, light fixtures. Sometimes I just order like a ton because I don't know what it's going to look like, and then I just return it. But I've heard Amazon is booting people who return too many items. So we're good so far.
You don't want to get blacklisted, no.
I know. I would be very upset. We spend a lot of money there. So yeah, that's kind of what we do.
No, it's fine. Now that you say that, I remember when we were doing our condo conversion project in your town of Austin, I bought hundreds of different, I think it was mostly light fixtures, and had them shipped right there. And then whoever, like the on-site contractor, and one time it was me because I was there, I'm like bringing them all in from the porch, loading them in the garage. But it is awesome that they have, free delivery with the Prime membership. And it's fast. That's super convenient.
Yeah, for knobs, like we buy all of our, cabinet pulls there, and like 25 of them for like $30. I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah, it's really convenient. So we've been going on for a long time. I'm feeling like we should wrap it up unless you had any other burning questions.
No, I think that may be
okay. Well, I'm glad you guys asked me some questions because I love for the listeners to hear some of my stuff too. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for joining us and telling us all about your deals. I'd love to have you back in another 6 to 12 months and hear the update stories because it's just so exciting to see you guys growing and doing better all the time. And I'll have to ask you, did you move into one of your own flips yet? So
yes.
Are you homesteading? So
yes.
Yeah. So all you listeners, this is episode 102. So if you'd like to get the show notes and the contact information for Jonathan and Savannah, you're going to go to hardhatholly.com/102 because we're show 102. Also, if you want to send me a text to the number 38470, you're going to text Hard Hat, all one word, no spaces, Hard Hat. I will send you a weekly text once our podcasts get published, and you'll have a link to the downloads that we've had from some of our shows. Lots of fantastic free tools with those. So you text Hard Hat to 38470 to get those downloads and reminders. Now, Jonathan, Savannah, if people want to connect with you, how would they do that?
Best way I would say is by phone or email. My personal cell phone number is 512-696-5400. And our company's called Savvy Property Investments. So you can either look that up or we can, my email address is jj.savvyinvestments@gmail.com. And Savannah's is s.savvyinvestments@gmail.com.
And how do you spell Savvy for Savvy Investments?
2 V's, S-A-V-V-Y.
S-A-V-V-Y. Awesome. So listeners, if you are in the Austin area and want to connect with them, maybe sell them a house or buy a house from one of their wholesales or something, then definitely hit them up. That's great that you got his phone number there, and it will be in our show notes as well. So if you didn't catch it, don't worry about it. What is your parting words of advice for our listeners that want to get started?
I would say, so, and I learned this in the entertainment industry, is leap and the net will appear.
Oh.
A lot of times people are stagnant because of fear and they don't have that safety net. And we literally just moved out here with no plan B. And because of that, we were hungry, and we're at where we're at right now. So that's kind of
awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and also just to be patient, because a lot of gurus and programs say, oh, you're going to get a deal in the first 4 or 6 weeks. Just do this, this, this. It doesn't always happen that way, and just be patient. And if you're persistent and patient and you follow up, you will get deals. But if you give up and get, discouraged, you won't succeed. And for us, it was sink or swim, and we just kept swimming and kept swimming and kept swimming, and we never had the option if it didn't work out. We never thought, oh, well, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to go back to doing this. It was like, this is working. So I think it's a lot about mindset.
It is. And you guys obviously have the right mindsets. I love it. Well, thank you again so much for your time, guys and listeners. To get these show notes, once again, it's hardhatholly.com/102. And you can check out my website, YouTube channel, Hard Hat Holly, Facebook, Hard Hat Holly. Look me up. I'd love to connect with you. And guys, get out there, take some action, and make it happen. Hey there, thanks for watching the video. Make sure you like it and click subscribe to get notified of more videos. And you can go to hardhatholly.com for a free download on secrets to finding great deals.